Hello, team players. Shining Kingdoms has a few archetypes that I'd like to talk about, but the big one is one that you guys are probably very interested in. I am, of course, talking about the Eagle Knights. This archetype is insane. It's one of the best teamwork archetypes I've ever seen. Almost every feat here helps the team in some way. This archetype gives you access to a bunch of fighter feats and a few ranger feats. It's great for any character that wants to support and have martial capabilities. You do need high intelligence and charisma to use this archetype effectively, so it probably isn't the best archetype to use if you're playing a barbarian. But let's get into what this actually gives you. Any character can take the dedication as long as they meet the two requirements. First, you need to be trained in society and diplomacy. Second, technically, you need to be invited to become an Eagle Knight by an Eagle Knight or someone on the People's Council. If you're playing in society play, then yes, you need to meet that requirement. But if it were up to me, I'd let you take this archetype. If you roll diplomacy for initiative, then enemies that haven't acted yet are off guard against you. In addition, you get additional lore for politics lore, and you can use politics lore in place of diplomacy as long as you are dealing with government officials. You pretty much become a politician yourself, so you can use politics lore to interact with politicians. At level 4, you can take commitment to equality, which basically allows you to use diplomacy to reduce conditions. You start off being able to reduce frightened and stupefied, but as you get better in diplomacy, you can add things like clumsy and enfeebled, and even stunned. This feat can be a little situational, but it's good to have it if you need it. Also at level 4, you can take Interpose, which allows you to stride, then switch places with an ally, and if an enemy is in your reach, you get a free melee attack. This right here is awesome action economy. I believe this feat is also available to Guardians, but I'm not 100% sure. This archetype also has access to Quick Draw, which means draw a weapon and attack with it, one action. It's a feat we've had for a long time, it's just this archetype has access to it. At level 6, we get access to Commitment to Justice. Basically, if an ally has gone down to 0 hit points in the last turn, we can make a strike that does more damage. So if we're in a really tough battle, and one of our allies goes down, we get to hit them harder, but only for that one round. This one is literally strike down my allies, and I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Also at level 6, you can take commitment to liberty. Basically, if an enemy has an ally grappled or restrained, we get to make a strike against them. If we hit, the ally can attempt to escape as a free action. In addition, if we happen to get a critical hit, then it's even easier for them to do so. They get a nice little bonus to their escape check. Getting allies out of grapples and restraints is actually pretty nice. When you get to level 8, you can take Bolster Ally. If your ally is targeted by any effect that requires a saving throw, you can use a reaction to allow them to use your saving throw modifier instead of their own. Basically, if you're something like a rogue and you have a high reflex save and your champion triggers a trap that requires a reflex save, you can basically be like, I'm going to pull the champion out of the way so he can use my dex instead of his. You can't just keep using this though. It is limited, but it's still a fantastic feat, especially if you're something like a monk. Of course, also at level 8, you wouldn't be much of a knight if you didn't have Reactive Strike, and this archetype does give you access to it. If you get to level 10, you have access to a couple feats we already have access to. In Blind Fight, which lets us target hidden and undetected creatures more easily, and Hazard Finder, which allows us to find and avoid traps more easily and find traps even if we're not searching. We also get access to the new feat, Stir Allies. For 2 actions, we can allow all of our allies within a certain area to step. as a reaction. And if we're legendary in diplomacy, they can stride instead. Fantastic action economy for the entire party. Highly recommend this feat. And of course, at level 12, this archetype gives you access to tactical reflexes, which means reactive strike on every enemy's turn, which is an insane combo with a feat we're going to talk about later. We also get an aura of confidence, which essentially gives us and all of our allies within a certain area a nice little bonus against mental effects. Things like frightened. Also at 12th, we get Talamandor's Shout, which is basically a once per day AoE demoralize. And we don't need Intimidating Glare to use this on creatures that don't understand our language. Most of you probably won't even get this far, but at level 14, you can take even the odds. Now when we use Commitment to Equality, which I covered earlier in this video, you can roll twice and take the better results. In addition, if you succeed, the target gets temporary hit points. So you're reducing a condition, maybe even getting rid of it entirely, and you're giving them temporary hit points. It's pretty great. Also at level 14, we have an insane feat called Immediate Rebuke. You can now use Reactive Strike if your allies get hit. The only way that you do not get a Reactive Strike is if they attack you. If they attack anybody else or try to move, you're hitting them, assuming they're in your reach, of course. And the last feat is another feat we already have access to, which is Determination. Once per day, we can get rid of effects on us. Conditions, spells, whatever, but not damage. This is basically a once per day, screw you to effects on us, which can be effective depending on the situation. And that's the Eagle Knight archetype done. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like, and let me know in the comments what you think of the Eagle Knight archetype. And if you want to talk characters or need help with a character, my Discord is where you want to be. You can also join my Patreon page if you want a path builder for any of my builds, or you want me to do a video on your build right here on the channel. Links are in the description. If you're interested in the brand new spells from Shining Kingdoms, I have a video for that right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.